Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Excuse the video if it shakes. I'm holding this with my hand because I'm not in the studio, no tripod here, sitting in my chair. Some good news came out today. A coalition of 21 attorney generals across the country have bonded together and have petitioned the Supreme Court to hear the Maryland assault weapon ban case. Now, these attorneys general are in the following states: Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. They all jointly filed a friend of the court brief which supports the plaintiffs in the Colby versus Hogan case. Now, this group believes that Maryland's ban on certain semi-automatic weapons, say that 5 times fast, as well as bans of over 10 rounds on magazines, is unconstitutional. And it's not just their belief, it's an actual fact if you read the Constitution. And they have officially asked the Supreme Court to step in and rule on this. The West Virginia Attorney General, Patrick Morrisey, he had this quote that came out within the last couple days. And it says, "Banning certain types of firearms steps on the Second Amendment. Law-abiding gun owners routinely use these firearms for self-defense and sporting. Such an unconstitutional act cannot stand." Now, this brief was filed Friday, and news of it just came out within the last 24 hours. Attorney General Morrisey also said that the outcome of the Maryland case will have repercussions nationwide. And that is true because there are several other states, mine is one of them, California is one of them, I live in Massachusetts. Several states have their own assault weapon ban. And it is illegal. You just can't ban a weapon because it's scary, and it's modular, and it's the color black, and then bad things could happen because it looks ugly. Can't do it. Now, these attorney generals that banded together, they're just the latest group to file a brief to petition the Supreme Court to hear this case. Numerous gun right groups and law enforcement groups have also filed briefs supporting the plaintiffs. Now, the supporters filing these briefs are arguing that the Supreme Court needs to step in to reassert the framework it created during the landmark gun rights case of Heller versus DC, as well as McDonald versus Chicago, which affirmed the Constitution and guaranteed an individual's right to keep and bear arms. The NRA and Chris Cox have also said that the Fourth Circuit's ruling and the fact that it upheld the gun ban is just another example of courts doing whatever they want, just ignoring the Second Amendment and ignoring the Heller case altogether. Chris Cox went on to say that the lower courts have been making up their own rules when it comes to the Second Amendment for far too long, and the Colby decision crossed yet another line. He added that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual right to keep and bear arms for self-defense, and the popular rifles and standard magazines banned in the Maryland case are some of the best tools for self-defense. He's right there. Now, the Supreme Court is yet to decide if it will take up the Colby versus Hogan case. I don't know, it's kind of dodged every major Second Amendment case that's come along in recent years. Now, if you remember, in June, the Supreme Court denied certiorari in the case of Peruta versus California. That was a concealed carry law case that many people, including myself, thought that it was like a slam dunk that the Supreme Court was going to take it up because the case was pretty open and closed. But they didn't. And in that decision, the dissenting opinion was written by Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Neil Gorsuch. Now, they both argued in the dissent that the court should do more to protect the Second Amendment rights of Americans. In fact, Justice Clarence Thomas said this, quote, "The court's decision to deny certiorari in this case reflects a distressing trend, the treatment of the Second Amendment as a disfavored right. The court has not heard argument in a Second Amendment case in over 7 years since March 2nd of 2010 in the McDonald versus Chicago case. Since that time, we have heard argument in, for example, roughly 35 cases where the question presented turned on the meaning of the First Amendment, and 25 cases that turned on the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. But they've avoided every case on the Second Amendment." There's a lot to be said there. Hopefully, this will be the case that many of us are hoping and praying for, that will strike down states' abilities to just ban a certain type of weapon because they don't like it. I mean, after all, the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the Second Amendment is part of that Constitution. Please pass this around if you're in the Second Amendment community. I'm trying to get as many people to see the news as possible, because it's not coming out. Believe me, you're not going to turn on CNN or whatever your local channel is, and you're not going to hear any pro-gun news. So we need to get this out ourselves. If you like this video and this type of news, please hit the thumbs up down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would love to have you, because the Second Amendment news comes out right here on Guns and Gadgets faster than anywhere else. Until we see each other again, this is Jared. I appreciate your time more than you know. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.